Here we go, monitoring that care, the end of user-based monitoring. So you're going to wonder, what the hell is user-based monitoring? And I'll go back to it eventually because that's the talk and that's pretty much what you would expect. But first I want a little show of hands. Who here has ever missed an alert? Because your phone was off, because you ate Mexican food, because you left it in the car, because you turned it off, because it's in another room, because you forgot you were on call, because you're still on another time zone, so on and so forth. I mean, yeah, all of us. Or almost all of us. If you haven't, don't worry, it comes to you. Especially when you have no backup. That's when you miss the alert. When you have no backup and it goes straight to your manager and he's not happy. But he's dealing with it anyway because that's what we do. We deal with stuff. Now, we go one up. Who has ever missed an outage? You go to the office and people ask you, where were you last night? Or, are you taking on call seriously? Or someone calls you or sends you a tweet or something like that saying, hey, is your website down? Yeah, it happened to me several times too. And that's not pager shaming. I mean, we all take on call seriously. We all take monitoring seriously. The problem is about coverage. Sometimes people use our services, our servers, our systems in a way we could not even conceive. It happens. It's really weird, but people do really weird stuff. And that's why we get paid. And my first reaction, and possibly first reaction for a lot of people, was to act really defensive, like mostly, computers, damn it. No, it's not down, look, Nagios is green, or Isinga is green, or Sensu is green, everything's green, everything's fine. But the end user doesn't care because that's all they see. They're like, I don't care if it's green, it's red for me, or white, or whatever the URL or message is. So obviously, instead of being defensive, you should rethink why people complain to you about things being down. Because deep down, why do they complain? Because they care, because they use your services, because they do not want to vote with their wallet. They actually like what you're doing, and they like it so much they want it to be up all the time. I mean, for instance, why do you stay up all night monitoring services? Why do you have alerts? Why do you get paged at 3 in the morning? Because someone using it. Your 3 in the morning is not my 3 in the morning. When I get back from work at 8 p.m. and I go on Amazon.com, not .co.au, and I want to shop and I put stuff in my cart and I check out and I can't, I'm really happy there's some engineer in Seattle that get paged at 3 in the morning to fix it because, well, I want to give you money. And it's even worse for some things. There's literally life or death situations. Imagine if the 911 switchboard goes down. If a self-help suicide hotline website goes down, you generally feel all right at noon, not so much at 2 in the morning when it's dark and you're alone. We need to remember why we monitor. We monitor because people use our services and we don't want them to basically catch us with our pants down because that means we failed them. And, I'm not saying it's easy. We have pretty big names that got basically lots of message on Twitter, hey, is X down? Fill it with Google Cloud, AWS, Azure, GitHub, Amazon, whatever you want. It happens to pretty much everyone. It's hard. We just cannot cover everything. And even worse, we make it harder every day. I present to you the modern web service, an allegory. That's a simple one, by the way. I mean, there's maybe one key value store, 2 database, 3 different kind of front-end, 2 back-end, and all legacy AS400 somewhere in the basement because apparently we still need that. So that's easy. I mean, if you want to have full coverage, well, there's an easy solution. Just monitor everything. That works. I mean, you get vision on everything, you get alerted on everything, and your engineer wakes up to that. That's not my phone, by the way. I mean, I take on call seriously, and I've messed up a few times, but not that bad. So yeah, obviously you don't want that. That's not a talk about alert fatigue. We already know the well-known effects of not sleeping at all several nights in a row. Alice made a very great talk about it. If you haven't seen it, you should. So we have to refocus. We have to narrow down what we should monitor. And what we should monitor is basically what Alice said in the 4 rules of alerting, one of them being, does this impact the user? What would the user say? As an end user, I don't particularly care that you have 100% uptime globally on your MySQL cluster or Percona or Postgres or whichever database you like. Good for you. I'm really happy. If I can't log in, that doesn't mean jack shit. Pardon my French. So you need to figure out what makes sense as a user. What do I care about? Can I log in? Can I see my profile page? Can I log out? That's a fairly basic test. That's the most basic you can have. I can assure you a lot of people don't even monitor that. Can I do those 3 simple operations? Log in, check my profile, log out. Not even browse, not even buy something or interact with something, just those 3 there. It's really hard. And so, how do you get to that point? Like, how do you know what your users do? Or do you know what they consider broken? Or do you know what they like? Or do you know how they use a product? I mean, we tend to, give a lot of bad rep to like support, sales, marketing. Trust me, they have a lot of reports. They hear it. They hear everything. Something's broken. I can assure you, there's 5 sales guys at your operation. Sorry, 5 sales folks at your organization that had lost a contract because of it. They're like, hey, by the way, that thing was broken 2 months ago, and we're not renewing because of that. Support hears about all the broken thing, and there's generally 3 ways to go about it, right? It's broken. And you don't care, you lose your user. But you're willing to lose it, why not? It's broken for them, but it's not supposed to work that way because, well, what they call the bug is actually a feature on your end, and you're like, why would you do that with your API? That's not how it's supposed to work. Well, guess what? Talk to the docs team, because if there's no docs about it, what they do is what it's made for. And the third one, which is what we should go about, is, oh, well, it's broken and it's not supposed to be broken, so we should fix it. Well, yeah, but we weren't even aware it was broken until 15 minutes ago before I started. So, yeah, So that's it. That's great. You'd like, okay, so users, broken things. What do we do next? I don't know. What are we even measuring? Because right now, most monitoring is like, I think the application should respond in 5 milliseconds. So that's what I'm putting my alerting at. That's where I'm alerting. So I'm going to alert at the beginning and at the end. But turns out that's actual real-life values, not broken behavior. Just we did not measure accurately versus what we actually experienced. And we're busy. I mean, ops are busy, sysadmins are busy. We can't just do everything. We can't, once it's pushed to production, we just cannot keep watching it and be like, are my alerts correct and all. Usually you realize your alerts are incorrect at 3 in the morning, which is not the best time to make changes unless you're very brave or foolish or both. I mean, if you want another alert at 4, that's the best time to do it, definitely. So you're like, well, yeah, but maybe I need help. Maybe I need someone to show me what I should measure. And I'm sure that every organization has at least that one person that knows exactly how it should behave and what it should measure. And I'm sure none of you talk to them very regularly unless they tell you, by the way, your code's broken. Have you talked to your testers? Have you talked to QA? They know exactly what your application is supposed to do, under how many users, and how many times it can break. They know what's experience performance because they've done it before you push to prod. Talk to them. They know a lot of stuff. And sometimes, they press all the keys at once just to see if they can blow it up. Usually it does. So, I mean, for instance, I have an anecdote, right? We are talking about the login, check your profile, log out. That was actually part of one of our SLAs in a previous job. And chance had it, I was volunteered to do it. I was like, yeah, that's easy. I'm just going to do 3 lines of bash, bit of curl, done. Well, it turns out a SAML application in Flash is really, really hard to manage with bash. You would not believe, it's really hard. And I spent possibly on and off 2-3 days on it, and I just could not get anywhere. I switched, I got wget didn't work, so I went back to curl, tried some weird libraries from the dark space of Usenet, and I was like, oh, it's not working. And I asked the tester, like, so how do you do performance testing? Because obviously they're not logging in 5,000 times in a row to check that it's handling well, and that wouldn't work. And they're like, oh, well, this is easy. We're just using JMeter. I'm like, oh, but JMeter is Java. I don't like Java. Plus, there's a UI, and you have to click on things, and you have to click submit, and all. I can't do that at 3 in the morning when I'm monitoring things, and I don't even have X installed on that server. What do you want me to do? But, you know, at least I had one way to do it. So that was my backup plan. And I looked at their docs, and it turns out that the JMeter people are very smart people, and possibly some of them are sysadmins, because there's a CLI only option for JMeter, and it dumps a text trace of what you did. And all of a sudden, my monitoring problem was not. It was CSV files that returned 200, 301, 200, done. And I was like, oh, wow. If I get anything but that line, it means it's broken. It means I need to fix something, because I should not get 500, I shouldn't get 400 something. It was awesome. So yeah, talk to your testers. They know shit. The good one. So, I mean, right, so we know what to monitor, and you know, it seems to be easy to just ask someone else to do it. And I bring that back to you for things. So where would you start to monitor it? The wiggly cog, the screen, the fondue kit? I mean, maybe there's a cow over there? I mean, that's the bell. The bell should be monitored definitely, because it's going to make some noise, so that's good. We like loud noises, you know, we like to be scared. Well, do you know who knows a lot more about that than you do? Your dev. And maybe you should have asked, you know, you should go in your little phone box or your DeLorean or whatever you prefer, go back 6 months in time and ask the devs, hey, could you put some clear logging in your app? Could you make easy to monitor? Like, can you not use Flash for SAML, please? Yeah, that didn't work, by the way. They were really, really keen on Flash. Talk to your dev, invite them for coffee, go have lunch with them. I know they might be on a different floor. I had problems. I mean, I'm not saying it's easy. I've seen lack of communication in large organizations with like tens of thousands of employees, where basically devs and ops are in different buildings, in different cities, in different states, possibly in different continents as well. And I've seen the same problems in small 25 people organizations that were pretty much all huddled in a giant open space. It's hard, but it's so gratifying. Have lunch with them, ask for their opinion on how you should monitor things. Trust me, they're actually really good with stuff. Just never ask them. And obviously, you know, sometimes you can't. Sometimes you have legacy product, and no one knows Perl anymore, so you know you can't do that. I try to know Perl, I sucked at it. It's a great language, I just suck at it. Sometimes it's even worse, you get stuff like Fortran or COBOL, you know, so, but you still have to monitor it because it's legacy, and legacy means money, means business, so you have to monitor it. So, I mean, it's tough, you still have to keep it running. You're paid, literally, because someone somewhere uses it and they expect you to keep it running. So you're back to that problem of the black box. You know, you're like, well, I have my expected behavior. I need to monitor that. I'm just not sure where to start. First mistake, do not start coding. Turn off your computer. Get out. I mean, you know, you always know that person who's like, I know, I'll monitor it with regular expressions. I have Nagios, I'm going to create you a nice little Python script. You're not going to believe it. Right, do you even know what you're monitoring? Yeah, I mean, I have the gist of it. Login, profile, logout. Yeah, easy peasy. Step back, sit down, grab a notepad, do pseudocode. Like back when you were in high school or in college, you know, when you were starting doing Turbo Pascal or Basic or something, do pseudocode. Pseudocode is awesome. You realize most of the time you have no idea what you were about to code, but you're already 2 pages and 5 branches in by that time. So, you know, do it when you're still on Notepad and you can just use an eraser instead. And obviously, it's a very complex task. You know, sometimes it's like, okay, so I have to set up that new monitoring stuff. I have to create that new alert, but I also have to guarantee a time, and I have to deploy that thing and possibly drive to the DC and rack up stuff and look over that new agreement for the cloud stuff we're getting. How am I supposed to block a full week to do it? Well, you don't have to. I mean, you can just basically go with your ID and talk to someone whose job would be to gather requirements, to break projects in tiny little manageable chunks, to ask pointed questions about, no, when you're saying, I want a Python script to monitor my login, that's not what you mean. What you mean is, I want something that tells me if I can log in, check my profile, log out, or I can't. You know, some kind of people that analyze business or manage projects, you know, usually they look like that, you know. Haha, business. They're doing analyst things. They're managing things. They're product managers. But guess what? They're really good at taking really simple ideas, cut them down in manageable chunks, and transforming them into very complex, fully functional products. Because usually your MVP is, I have this dodgy hack in Bash, and it works fine enough, and you realize it's not working at 3 in the morning. And that's your MVP, and basically it becomes just MVP over MVP over MVP. You just have a craft of layers of MVPs, so it's just dodgy patches all around. And I know, I've done plenty, I'm sure. My name is somewhere on GitHub on some stuff I'm not really proud of. Really not. Don't go check, please. But, I mean, it worked eventually, but if you actually tackle it like a good, proper software development project, and I'm not saying, you know, you need to have a gatherment meeting every day for 2 hours, because we're all busy. But ask for help. Hey, how can I fit that in my current workload? How can I work on it a tiny bit every day? How can I block out 2 hours a week to work on it? What would make sense? They would help. And they would be happy because they're like, you never talked to us before. That's great. You're actually a very nice guy when we know you. I didn't know ops people were so nice. I know, right? It's amazing. If you talk to people, they lose their prejudice. Amazing. And the last advice I would give you is obviously, because you're going to get a lot more alerts. Now that you know what to monitor, that you don't have any blind spots anymore, you're not getting less alerts. You're going to get more, a lot more. You know what's the key to get less alerts? Fix what's causing it. And sometimes, as I said, it's as easy as reevaluate your misconception. Like, it should be running under 5 milliseconds. Turned out that 9 times out of 10, it runs under 10. Well, raise the bar. If it's not, you know, on paper as an SLA, it needs to run under 5, then who cares if it runs under 10? It's still good. Sometimes it's actually, you know, keeping a paper trail. How many times did you get woken up? By what? Which system? Which app? Who's responsible for it? And don't shoot off a snarky email at 3:30. Hey, I fixed your shit, by the way. I can assure you that's going to generate goodwill all around. Like, no one's going to put sugar in your fuel tank or anything, you know? It's going to be great. Works perfectly fine. Everyone loves snarks. No, what you do is you do the same thing sales is doing, you do the same thing marketing is doing, you do the same thing support is doing. You compile reports. You don't have to use Crystal reports or Excel or anything. You can just make a quick list of tickets and be like, okay, so we had 5 tickets when we had to restart that server. Turns out, you know what? No one actually used that server overnight because it's purely 9 to 5 service. Like literally no one will use it. It's okay to not alert on it overnight. I know it hurts. I mean, I love uptime, but if no one using it and a server goes down, is it really down? That's the thing. And sometimes the key is to be like, all right, I know I'm not the product manager. I know we have a full load of feature, but right now, this is causing X times hour every week across 4 engineers. Engineers are being paid X for being on call, plus X for overtime. They're coming in late in the morning because no one likes to, come in after 2 hours of sleep. That's a monetary value, by the way, a very good one. And you can just bring that to product manager, being like, service X is keeping our engineers up. I would appreciate if you could prioritize fixing service X. And even better, you can even provide a bug report. We love bug reports. Bug reports are awesome. Another thing, since you've already talked to that product manager before to ask for their help, they'll be like, oh yeah, well, I know Francois. Yeah, he's in ops. He's a good guy. You should listen to him. If he says it's a problem for his team, then we should fix it. Because, you generated goodwill all around. And that's really the base of monitoring that cares, is you care about your user, you care about people that may be your user, but right now you work with them. You should care for everyone. And you talk to both internal and external stakeholders to get where you should be. So users don't catch you unaware, and so everyone in the company can pitch in so that no one catches you unaware. You're not alone in that job. I know we have that martyr hero things. I can fix this. Sometimes you can't, and it's okay to say, I don't know, please help. Thank you.